To begin today's practice test, open the Student Shared Drive. Then click on the file that says Testing. Finally, open the FSA Secure Testing Platform. Once this is open, click Go to the Practice Test site. Today, you are going to learn how to use the test delivery system, the test platform you will use to take the computer-based Florida Standards assessments. This practice test is designed for students who will take the grade 9 or 10 FSA ELA reading assessment. You will be given a CBT worksheet on the day of the test to take notes during each session of ELA reading. However, today you may use your own paper. Remove all materials from your desk except your pen or pencil and scratch paper. Your computer or device should be opened to the Student Practice Test login screen. Please follow my instructions and do not change screens until I tell you to do so. Now, look at the login screen. If you do not see this screen, raise your hand. Make sure the box to the left of Guest User is switched to On. Make sure the box to the left of Guest Session is switched to Off. Now enter the session ID, which is displayed for you. The first box will already be entered for you. Once you have entered the session ID, click Sign In. Raise your hand if you need assistance. Now you will see a screen that says Your Tests. From the Student Grade Level drop-down menu, select 9 or 10. Now you will see the test you're going to take today, the grade 9 or 10 ELA Reading Practice Test. Click the arrow beside Start Grade 9 or Start Grade 10 ELA Reading Practice Test. Now sit quietly while I approve your tests. Now you will see a screen that says Audio Checks. This screen allows you to check your headphones or earbuds to make sure that you can hear audio passages in the test. You can also adjust the volume from this page. Put your headphones or earbuds on now and click the speaker icon. Make any adjustments to the volume if necessary. If you hear the sound, click Yes. Raise your hand if you cannot hear the sound. Now, you should see a screen that says Help Guide and Test Settings. Do not click Begin Test Now until I instruct you to do so. To review the Help Guide, click View Help Guide. Take a moment to review the Help Guide. These instructions show you how to navigate in the test and how to use the tools and features of the testing platform. We will discuss these tools in more detail on the next screen. These instructions are also available for you to reference in the practice test. When you are done, click Back to return to the Help Guide and Test Settings screen. Just below the Help Guide section, you will see a section for Test Settings. Take a moment to review your test settings by clicking View Test Settings. You should see a screen that says Review Test Settings. This screen allows you to choose the print size, background color, and mouse pointer for your test. If you would like to change your selections, do so now. You should see your changes made on the screen once you select them. You can click Undo Changes to return to the previous selected settings. If you have any questions, raise your hand. Click OK to save your changes and return to the Help Guide and Test Settings screen. Once again, if you have any questions, raise your hand. Now click Begin Test Now, but do not begin yet. Now listen as I describe the screen. For the grade 9 and 10 FSA ELA reading assessments, you will see a reading passage on the left side of your screen and the question and answer area on the right side of your screen. There is a scroll bar to the right of the reading passage on the left side of your screen. Now slowly scroll down in the reading passage section by moving your cursor into the reading passage section and either clicking the down arrow at the bottom of the scroll bar or by clicking and dragging the scroll bar. When reading a passage, always make sure that you scroll down to read the entire passage. In the top left corner of your screen, you will see the navigation buttons. The back and next buttons can be used to move to the previous or the next question. The back button is currently deactivated because you are on the first question, but it will be available for later questions. To the right of the next button, you will see the Save button. The Save button allows you to manually save your work. This is an optional feature. If you do not click this button, your answers will be saved automatically every 2 minutes. Look to the right of the Save button, where you will see the Pause button. The Pause button allows you to pause and exit the test. Do not click the Pause button at this time. Are there any questions? Now I will describe several tools that may help you with this computer-based practice test, and you will practice using them. Click Next to move to question 2. Note that the reading passage in the left panel remains the same, but the question and answer options have changed. You can see how many questions you will have for this reading passage in the top right corner of the question and answer area. Once you finish those 8 questions, the passage will change. At the top right corner of your screen, find the Notes button. Click Notes now. A notepad will display in a pop-up window. If you want to make notes for later reference, you can type them into this window. You can click and drag this pop-up window around the page if needed. Now practice typing some in the notepad. These notes are not included as a part of your writing response, but they are monitored by the testing contractor. Notes that you save in the notepad will be saved for the duration of this test. To close the notepad without saving the notes you have typed, click Cancel. To save the notes you have typed and close the notepad, click Save and Close. Now close the notepad. Click Notes again, and your saved notes will display. To the right of the Notes button, find the Line Reader button. The Line Reader tool helps you track line by line as you are reading the passage or prompt. Now click Line Reader. When you have clicked the tool, the button will turn orange. The Line Reader appears on the title of the first passage. Click another line on the screen, and the Line Reader will move to that line. You can also move the Line Reader by using the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard. Practice using the Line Reader tool on the screen. Now click Line Reader again to turn off the tool. The button will revert to its original color. Next to the Line Reader, find the Zoom Out and Zoom In buttons. You can use these buttons to increase and decrease the size of text within the test page. 4 levels of magnification are available. Now practice using the Zoom Out and Zoom In buttons to find the zoom level with which you are most comfortable. At the top right side of the page, above the Zoom buttons, find a small question mark in a circle. This is the Help button. Now click the Help button. A pop-up window with the Help Guide, including an overview of the test site, test rules, and accessing context menu tools, will display. Note that you can click and drag this pop-up window around the page if needed. To change the size of the window, you can drag the bottom center, right center, or the bottom right corner of the box. This is the same screen that you reviewed before beginning the test practice. These instructions remind you how to navigate within the test and how to use the tools and features in the testing platform. Take a moment to scroll through these instructions. Raise your hand if you have any questions about the information in the Help Guide. Now close the Help Guide by clicking the X in the gray circle at the top right corner of the window. In the top right corner of the screen, next to the Help button, you will see a wheel. This is the System Settings tool. Now click System Settings. A pop-up window displays that will allow you to adjust the volume for this practice test. When you have finished adjusting your system settings, click OK to save your changes, and exit or cancel to exit without saving your changes. Note that if you attempt to adjust your system settings while audio is playing, the settings will not adjust until after you click OK. Are there any questions about any of the tools? In the top right corner of the Reading Passage panel, find the Expand Passage/Item tool, which looks like a double-sided arrow. This tool will expand the Reading Passage panel or the Prompt and Response panel so that it takes up most of the screen. Now click the right-pointing arrow of the Expand Passage/Item tool to expand your Reading Passage panel. Clicking the left-facing arrow will collapse the Reading Passage panel. Now, click the left-facing arrow of the Expand Passage/Item tool. The Reading Passage panel will shrink, and the Prompt and Response panel will cover the screen. Click the right-facing arrow to see both the Passage and Prompt and Response panels. Now look at the top right corner of the Prompt and Response panel. You will see 3 horizontal lines. This is the context menu. Click the lines to open the context menu. First, you will see a circle with a lowercase I, a flag icon, a grayed out line that says Highlight Selection, and a set of letters with a line through them. Click the lowercase I. This is the Tutorial tool. A pop-up window opens that displays a video tutorial of this item type. There is no sound available for this tutorial. You can also access the tutorial by right-clicking, if available on your device, in the Prompt and Response panel and clicking Tutorial. Now close the window by clicking the X in the circle at the top right corner of the pop-up window. Now select the context menu and then click the flag icon for Mark for Review. This feature allows you to flag a question that you might want to review at a later time. You can mark an item for review by using the context menu or by right-clicking, if available on your device, in the question and answer area and clicking Mark for Review. Once you mark an item for review, the solid blue rectangle around the item number will change to a striped blue rectangle with the top right corner folded over. A flag icon will appear next to the item number, and the passage set in the drop-down list at the top left corner of the screen will also be labeled Marked. After you finish reviewing a question, return to the context menu and click Unmark Review Item. You can also right-click, if available on your device, in the question and answer area and click Unmark Review Item. The item number will revert to a solid blue rectangle, the flag icon will be removed, and the passage set in the drop-down list will no longer be labeled Marked. Now practice clicking Mark for Review and Unmark Review Item. For now, leave this question marked for review. You can use the Highlight Selection tool to highlight portions of a passage or prompt. To highlight, click and drag to select the text you want to highlight. Then right-click in the selected area and click Highlight Selection. Your text will then be highlighted. To remove the highlighting from text or reset all highlighting, right-click in the passage or prompt area. Then click Remove Highlight or Reset Highlighting from the context menu. Note that if you have multiple sections highlighted, choosing Reset Highlighting will remove all highlighting from that passage or prompt. To remove only certain portions of highlighting, select the text you want to remove highlighting from, right-click, and choose Remove Highlighting. Practice highlighting and removing highlighting from words in the passage or prompt. Now select the context menu and then click the set of letters with a line through them, which is the Strike-Through tool. You can use the Strike-Through tool to cross out answer choices that you have eliminated as possible correct answers. Click the first answer option. You should see a gray line through that answer option. Note that using Strike-Through on an answer option you have previously chosen does not automatically remove your selection of that response. Strike-Through is only available for multiple choice and multi-select item types. To remove a Strike-Through, click the Eliminated option. Click anywhere outside of the box around the answer choices to turn off the strike-through tool. Now, practice adding and removing strike-throughs. In the top left corner of your screen, you will see a drop-down menu with question numbers. The drop-down menu allows you to quickly move to different passage sets. You can only use the drop-down menu to revisit questions you have already seen. At this time, you will see only one passage set in the drop-down menu. In sessions with more than one passage set, each passage set that you have already seen will display in the drop-down menu. Are there any questions about any of these tools? Now we will look at the types of questions you will see throughout the test. Unless instructed to do so, you do not need to answer the questions at this time. You will have time after we discuss the various item types to practice answering the questions. Click Back to return to Question 1. Question 1 is a two-part selectable hot text item. If an item has more than one part, you must complete each part of the item. This question type requires you to select a word or a group of words. For each part of this question, click on the phrase you would like to select. The phrase will become highlighted and marked with dotted lines around the outside. Note that some hot text items will specify a number of words or group of words to select, whereas others will not specify the number. To remove your selection, click the selected phrase again. The highlighting and dotted lines will be removed, allowing you to choose a new phrase as your response. Click Next to move to Question 2. Question 2 is a multiple choice question. This question type requires you to choose the answer you think is correct. To begin, you will read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question, read the answer choices. Finally, click the button next to an answer option to select your answer. The button will become filled in. Now, click Next to move to Question 3. Question 3 is a drag and drop hot text item. This question type requires you to place and move words, phrases, or sentences on an answer space. To begin, you will read the directions that appear on the screen. You will see an object bank and an answer space. For this question, the object bank is in the table below the answer space. Click on an item in the object bank and drag it into the answer space. Read the instructions carefully to see how many of the items you should use and where you should place them. If you need to change an answer once you have dragged the item from the object bank to the answer space, you can either drag the item to a different spot in the answer space or drag the item out of the answer space and back into the object bank. Remember, you should only leave items in the answer space that are meant to be a part of your answer. When you are finished responding to the question, check to make sure that the answer space does not have any extra items that do not belong. Select Next to move to Question 4, which is an open response item. This type of question requires you to type your answer into a response area. To begin, read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question and any other information, think about your answer. Then, type your answer into the response area. Now, right-click in the response area. The context menu will display and now include an arrow around a clock face, which is the Select Response Version tool. This tool, which is only available on open response items, allows you to view and return to previous versions of your response. For example, if you delete a portion of your response and then continue writing, but later decide that you would like to access the deleted portion of your work again, the Select Response Version tool would allow you to do this. In the response area, type a short sentence and then click Save. Type your sentence now. Now, erase that sentence, type a new sentence, and click Save again. Now, from the context menu, click the Select Response Version tool. From the window that displays, click on the version numbers to see a preview of the response versions available to restore. Click the version number you would like to restore and click Select. Click Cancel to close the Select Response Version window without selecting a previous version. Now click Next until you reach Question 6. Question 6 is a table match item. This item type presents options in columns and rows. Options may include words, phrases, sentences, quotations, line, paragraph, passage numbers, or images. You must click the box that matches the correct option from a column with a correct option from a row. Typically, there is only one correct option per row or column, but the number of correct answers may vary. To remove a checkmark, click the selected box again. We have already discussed the remaining item types in Session 1, so you may now begin Session 1 of the practice test. Return to Question 1 and read and respond to each question while practicing using the tools available for this session. Do not exit the practice test until instructed to do so. Remember, if you need assistance understanding how to answer a question, you can click Tutorial, which is the lowercase I under the context menu. Raise your hand at any time if you have any questions. When you have finished answering questions in Session 1, you will see a green checkmark below each question number on the right side of the screen. If there is not a green checkmark below the number, you should go back and answer that question and check that you have answered all parts of the item. Now navigate to Question 8 by clicking Next, or by clicking 8 on the item numbers at the top right of the screen. Now we will practice how you will exit the test if you need to leave the room for an extended period of time during the actual test. The Pause button allows you to pause and exit the test for an extended period of time. Now, click Pause. A pop-up window will appear and ask you to confirm that you want to pause the test and to ask your test administrator before pausing your test. You should then verify with your test administrator whether you should pause your test. For today, click No. On the day of the test, if you have your test administrator's permission, you will click Yes. But for now, click No. Now we will move to the next session to finish describing all item types in this practice test. From Question 8, click Next to access the review screen. You will now have the option to review any unanswered or flagged items, or to complete Session 1. If you marked any questions for review, you will see a flag and checkmark icon next to the question number reminding you that you marked that item for review. If you wanted to review your response, you would click on the box with the question number and the flag and checkmark on it. You would then be taken back to the question you had marked for review. If you had left any questions unanswered, those questions would also be indicated on this screen with a triangle. Do not select a question number to review your answer at this time. Click Next. A message will appear asking you if you want to leave the session. Click Yes. You should now see Question 9 on your screen. Do not start Session 2 until I tell you to do so. If you do not see Question 9 on your screen, please raise your hand. We will now complete Session 2 of the practice test. The passage set on the left side of your screen includes an audio passage. Passage 1 contains a gray box with a triangle inside of a circle on the left side. In addition to reading the other passage, you will be required to listen to this audio passage to answer the questions associated with this passage set. On the left side of the gray box, you will either see the play button, which is a triangle inside of a circle, or the pause button, which is 2 vertical lines, depending on whether the recording is playing or paused. You can use the audio scrubber circle to move forward or backward in the recording. When you are instructed to begin session 2 of the practice test, be sure to practice listening to this audio passage. Question 9 is a graphic response item display or grid item. Different grid items will require you to respond in different ways. For this item, you will place and move objects on an answer space. To begin, you will read the directions on the screen. For this question, the object bank is the gray area below the answer space. Select an item in the object bank and drag it into the answer space. Read the instructions carefully to see how many of the items you should use and where you should place them. If you need to change an answer once you have dragged the item from the object bank to the answer space, you can either drag the item to a different spot in the answer space or drag the item out of the answer space and back into the object bank. Remember that you should only leave objects in the answer space that are meant to be a part of your answer. When you are finished responding to the question, check to make sure that the answer space does not have any extra objects that do not belong. Click Next to move to question 10, which is a multi-select item. This question type requires you to choose all of the answers you think are correct. First, you will read the question or instructions on the screen. After you finish reading the question, read the answer choices. Finally, click the button next to the answer options you want to select. A check mark will appear in the box. To remove a check mark, click the selected box again. Sometimes this question type will tell you a specific number of options to select, such as this question, which asks you to select only 2. Others may ask you to select all correct options without specifying a number. You will have either 5 or 6 options to select from on a multi-select item. Now click Next until you reach question 14. Question 14 is a 2-part multiple choice question. Be sure to select an answer for both parts of this item. Now click Next until you reach question 18. Because you have not yet entered an answer for all of the questions in this passage set, you will see a pop-up message that warns you that you have not entered a response to one or more items. To remain on the page, you would click No. While we are discussing item types, go ahead and click Yes each time this message appears. You should now see questions 18 through 20 on your screen. This question set is an edit task with a choice item. You will begin by reading the instructions and the passage. For each of the highlighted words or phrases, you will click the highlighted portion and select the best word or phrase from the drop-down list that displays. Click OK to save the word or phrase. If you do not want to save the changes made, click Cancel. If you change your mind, select the highlighted word or phrase again to make changes. Repeat this process for all of the highlighted words or phrases in the passage. Click Next to move to question 21, which is an edit task item. This item is similar to what you did for questions 18 through 20, except that you will type in your own answer rather than choosing from options in a drop-down menu. You will begin by reading the instructions in the passage. Then, click a highlighted word or phrase. Type the replacement word or phrase in the text box that appears. Click OK to save the word or phrase. If you do not want to save the changes made, click Cancel. If you change your mind, select the highlighted word or phrase again to make changes. Repeat this process for all of the highlighted words or phrases in the passage. Now, you may begin session 2 of the practice test. Return to question 9 and read and respond to each question while practicing using the tools available for this session. Do not click End Test until instructed to do so. Remember, if you need assistance to understanding how to answer a question, you can click Tutorial, which is the lowercase I under the context menu. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Now we will practice how you will submit your test when you have completed Session 2. From question 21, click Next to access the review screen. Remember that the review screen will show you any Session 2 questions that are unanswered or marked for review and allow you to return to those questions by clicking on the question number. Do not select a question number to review your response at this time. Click End Test at the bottom of the screen. You will see a message that directs you to click Yes to submit your test. Click Yes. A message will appear that reads, "You have reached the end of the test. Click Submit Test to submit your test." Go ahead and click Submit Test. A pop-up will display asking if you are sure you want to submit the test. Click Yes. You will now see a message that says Practice Test Completed. Click Log Out. Congratulations, you've reached the end of the practice reading test.